A pleasant morning to everyone. I am Justin Dave Stanke and today we will talk about the first settler in Davao City, which is the Bagobo tribe. So this is our table of contents. First is the historical background of the Bagobo tribe. We have their festivals, events, culture and tradition. We have their attires and accessories, the instruments they used, and the dances in their tribes. And first, let's talk about the historical background of the Bagobo. Along the desolate eastern coast of the Davao Gulf, centuries ago, new migrants mixed with a native population, forming a new community that was given the name Bagobo. The Bagobo tribe traces its origin from the people who brought in Hinduism to Mindanao. The Bagobo name was derived from two words, which are first the bago, which means new, and obo, which means to grow or growth. Throughout the centuries, a strong social structure has enabled these native groups to blend well with the original population, retaining their indigenous customs, beliefs, and values. The mountainous region between the Upper Pulangi and Davao rivers is the homeland of the upland Bagobo. The coastal Bagobo once lived in the hills south and east of Mount Apo, where according to a legend, their supreme god and common ancestor Apo Sandawa ruled as god. Mount Apo is the Bagobo ancestral domain and their sacred place of worship. At sabi dito, throughout the centuries daw is nagmix na ang mga tribes sa Davao City, but they preserve their original traditions, customs, and beliefs. There are two types of Bagobo noon. These are the upland Bagobo and the coastal Bagobo. Ang mga upland Bagobo daw po is naninirahan sa Upper Pulangi and the Davao Rivers. And the coastal Bagobo naman po is naninirahan sa hills of south and east of Mount Apo. And the Mount Apo daw po is the place where they do the rituals and the place of their worship. The Bagobo constitute is one of the largest groups among the indigenous peoples of southern Mindanao. They are composed of three subgroups which are the Tagabawa, the Klata or Giyangan, and the Ubo. Some of the Bagobo people have abandoned their tribal roots and embraced modern life, but most of the tribe's members remain proud of their heritage, traditions, and their native cultural identity. According to my research, some of the Bagobos abandoned their native tribe, their traditions because they experience prejudice, discrimination, and racism because of their color. And because of that, they decide na i-abandon ang kanilang native tribes and embrace modern life to experience uh, the opportunity and the modernity of life that once deprived from them. But some of the Bagobos naman po is remain from their native tribes, uh, even they experience those things, they embrace their heritage, traditions, and their native cultural identity. This is because they want to preserve the traditions they have, the native groups, the native tribes. I mean, they have the authenticity of their culture for the next generations to come. Let's proceed to the Bagobos festivals, events, culture, and their tradition. First, let's talk about their festivals. We have here the Kadayawan Festival. Kadayawan Festival is one of the most popular festivals in the Philippines where the different tribes in Davao City gather together to celebrate and showcase their culture through dance. This Kadayawan festival was derived the name its name was derived from the Mandaya word Madayaw, meaning treasured or valuable, as the locals use this time to give thanks for the season's bountiful harvest. Back in the day, the ethnic tribes of Davao would come together to celebrate abundant crops, performing rituals that paid tribute to the nature gods. So back then daw po is nagagather na po yung mga ethnic tribes and celebrate together kasi they want to give back the good harvest, bountiful harvest uh, that their supreme God give to them. So they give thanks to give back the gratitude that they have. Next is the Bagobo Festival. Bagobo Festival comprises sets of dances that interpret their economic activity ending into a social gathering. Two of the dances that they have is the Sayo Kamanto Taladuma and the Rice Cycle dance, which will be discussed later on. Let's proceed to the events of the Bagobo. First is their burial. The burial in the Bagobo is one of the most fascinating and most exotic burial in their tribes. Kasi they carved a crocodile pattern on top of the coffin because they believe that this is a protection against the flesh-eating ghosts or yung mga aswang. They lay mats at the bottom of the grave beneath the coffin, and sometimes they just leave the body in the house and abandon it. Nag-offer din po sila ng areca nuts, coffee, rice, and buyo leaves sa patay for their journey po. The marriage in the Bagobo is done by touching foreheads by the groom and bride because they believe that this is a symbol of their Bagobo culture. This is also an act of union of the couple towards the future. Both the couple will be united with a malong, then after a union, wedding activities will be followed by dancing money dance in traditional form and others. Planting or agriculture. The Bagobo tribe have this Gomek Gumanan ritual. This is a ritual before planting rice. Both the sacred and the secular regard for the power among the Bagobos are echoed likewise in the Gomek Gumanan. This ritual takes place every January in Sibulan, marking the start of the agricultural cycle for the Bagobo. Sibulan is the center of the settlement of the Bagobo noon po. Kasi po, before, ang mga Bagobo ay nagpa-practice po ng paghuwaga or human sacrifice before they do the planting rice po. But today, this practice was no longer practiced by the Bagobos because of the modernity that they have. In fact, it is carried out work in the fields that cannot be resumed. When in December Orion appears in the sky, Orion is a constellation in the sky. This is the signal for the celebration of the great yearly sacrifice and the making of all things ready for rice planting. Offerings of rice cooked in bamboo tubes are made at the meat forge, to which the men bring their working knives and other tools used in connection with the cultivation of or the clearing of the fields. For the next 3 days, no man must do any work. At the end of that time, the workers go to the fields and set up in the middle of each a receptacle containing an offering of areca nuts, intending for Manama or their creator. In return for this, Manama is expected to keep mischievous spirits out of the field and to grant health, large crops, and riches to the owner. So they do offerings because they believe that Manama will grant them good health and large crops, and to keep away the mischievous spirits out of the field. So let's proceed to their culture. They offer areca nuts, betel leaves, food, clothing, and brass instruments, all placed on special altar for the blessings. The Bagobo are settled people practicing agriculture as well as hunting and fishing. Their chief crop is rice, which they grow in clearings on the mountainsides. Since this grain is their staple food, the whole routine of its cultivation is most closely bound up with their cultures, beliefs, and practices. Ang kultura po ng mga Bagobo ay nag-umiikot lang po sa mga offerings and rituals before they do an event or a activity. The traditions they have is the hierarchy of God. Hierarchy of God is para po itong they have this ranking of gods, which is like the Roman gods or Greek gods. The supreme gods, they have this ranking of gods, which is Pamulak Madobo or Manama, the supreme god. The Mandarangan and his wife Darago, the gods of war. The Tigyama, the protector of families. Tarabumo, the god of the agriculture. Lumabat, the god of the sky, and Mebuyan, the goddess of the underworld. The Bagobo also do the rituals because uh, the traditions they have before all the activities, before doing their activities, they have these rituals na they, they have these rituals talaga na ginagawa before they do on specific activities. They also believe in Diwata because for them Diwata is the one who protect them against the natural elements. Offering paghuwaga or human sacrifice, they practiced this back then before doing the planting rice. Parental decision, wedding feast, dowry practices, someone's mabalian. Mabalian para sa atin po is ito po yung mga manggagamot, weaver, skilled weaver, uh, ano pa, mga physician, ganyan po ang tawag sa Bagobo sa atin po. Also, one of their traditions is to kill the triplets babies because para po sa kanila ito po ay malas. They also practice polygamy, having which is having more than one wife, and slavery. Pero slavery po ay to this present kay minsan ay rare na po sa mga Bagobos ang slavery practices. So now let's proceed to the attires and accessories of the Bagobo. We have here the women's and men's attires. First we have this women's attires. We have this headpiece or the lolen, headband or the erat, earrings or aretes, choker or pamarang, blouse or umpak kabaye. Umpak kabaye means a beaded blouse. We have this bronze belt or the kamagi, skirt or the suned, leglets or the rube, and the anklet which is the babat. We also have this men's attires, the headpiece called tangkulo, long sleeve vest which is umpak kamama or beaded beaded cloth for men, necklace, salagbat, belt sash or the alan, and the shorts which is the sarwar. Accessories for women. We have this the angklat or ito siyang bilog sa gilid na picture. The headpiece or the lolen, uh, the headband, the erat, earrings, aretes, and the choker. Choker is the pamarang. For men's accessories, we have this headpiece or the tangkulo and the necklace is the salagbat. So now, let's proceed to the instruments of the Bagobo that they used. First, we have here the lantoy. It is a small flute made with a thin species of the bamboo called badek. This type of bamboo is also known to be used in waving baskets. We have here the palakpak kaudak. The palakpak kaudak is played by holding two handles as the bottom of the instrument and shaking it upright. It is made by splitting about 3/4 of the bamboo tube, so the sides can separate and rebound to strike back each other, creating a clapping sound. A part of the tube is then carved halfway for the sides to separate easier. A small vertical bars which hit each other preventing the tube from completely splitting are left on the top and bottom parts of the hollowed cut. The togo. This polycordal bamboo zither is made by cutting and raising parts of the bamboo skin to create strings. A hollow strip is cut into the tube for the sound to resonate. It is played upright by plucking the strings with fingers. Asa-asa or kagik manok. Kagik, which is the kagik means a sound or chirping. A whistle type instrument that mimics the sound of chirping birds. Water is poured into the bigger tube to produce the chirping sounds. We have here the kudlong, the two-string lute made of wood, one string for the melody and the one for the drone. 8 frets are glued on the neck of the lute. The body of the instrument is carved with geometric patterns. The neck and the head are adorned with horsehair. The tail has two, or originally three, pieces of carabao skin. The strap is adorned with beadwork. And lastly, we have the tanggungo, a set of small 8 gongs made of iron that is usually hanging on the rest of the rope. This is the most popular. The kudlong and the tagungo are most popular instruments of the Bagobo. Lastly, we are going to talk about the dances of the Bagobo tribes. Tudak, rice cycle, namas omoy, or the sugod uno. The Bagobo rice cycle, also known as sugod uno, is a tribal dance which portrays the rice production cycle. This includes the prepping the land, planting rice, watering the rice, and harvesting it. This dance also portrays rituals to say thank you for the rice that they were able to harvest. A prayer for choosing fertile fields. The field is selected, the men dig holes with talapak poles or yung kawayan. Women place grains of rice, and then the dancers celebrate. The number of dancers for Bagobo dance actually varies, but usually it is 8 girls and 6 boys. The props that they use are the bamboos, bilaos, and rainmaker. So this Bagobo rice cycle equivalent sa halid dance ng Midsayap Municipality. Ito po yung isa po itong ritual dance. Isa po itong ritual dance and production of rice production cycle where they clean the field, dig the holes, put the rice, and then watering it, then afterwards harvesting it. We have here the Lawin-Lawin dance of the Bagobo tribe. So this Lawin-Lawin dance is an mimicry dance of the Bagobo tribe. This is all about the maturation of an eagle from egg to adulthood. The Lawin-Lawin dance tries to imitate how the eagle soars to the sky by making use of shields to represent the wings. So ito pong mga hawak ng mga male dancers ng Bagobo tribes. This is to represent the wings of the eagle. The dance shows the maturation of an eagle or lawin from egg to adulthood. As the eagle battles with strong mountain winds, he eventually finds his strength. This is performed by the males of the Bagobo tribes. Ang storya po ng Lawin-Lawin is all about the maturation of an eagle from egg to adulthood. Then afterwards, the eagle battles with strong mountain winds. Kasi ang mga eagle is a high flying bird, and eventually they will be encounter this kind of scenario, ang mga strong mountain winds, and by that mahahanap po nila ang kanilang strength as an eagle. Other authentic dances. Nasabi ko pong authentic dances ang mga sayaw na ito because they have no information na makikita sa internet. But eventually, I found these dances sa isang documentary sa Davao City, specifically sa Santa Cruz. Ang na mention po nila dito ang mga sayaw na ito with their translation sa English to know about these dances. Sayaw babad, a Bagobo dance while holding leaves of a coconut tree. Sagege, a fast and lively movement of the feet. Sayaw tanggungo, a ritual with the accompaniment of agong and the tanggungo. Tanggungo, ito po yung isang instrument ng mga Bagobo na may 2 string and horse hair sa may ulo banda. Minom tong kape, a ritual celebration while drinking coffee. Minom, which means inom, and kape, which means coffee. So, a ritual celebration po ito habang umiinom ng kape. So, this is all, and thank you for listening.